Evening. Welcome to On the Case with Kamau Kujichagulia. And I am Kamau Kujichagulia, and I welcome you. Each week we invite the most beautiful and important people that we know to come on to this show and to talk with you about Trenton, New Jersey, for those who aren't around here, and the vicinity. This week we have a very interesting program because in about 2 weeks we're having a runoff election for our city council at large seats, and these are three of the six candidates who are running for those seats. So we should get some very good information about what's been going on during this election cycle and what they stand for and what they want to do if indeed they are elected. Let me bring in our co-host, Michael Harmon, who is here ready to also be on the case with our guests. Michael, how are you?
I'm good, Dad. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good.
Before we get in, I was looking at a comment from the governor's State of the State address, and they were saying that they supported the governor's position on diversity of including making government more diverse, But I look at it this way, and I tell, I have had the Nubian news for 33 years and other things. And I tell people when they tell me that they're interested in supporting the Black community, I say, look, we've been the only Black newspaper in Trenton for 33 years. That's not true. Of course, we did have Cream for a while.
Cream.
For 33 years, we've been here. And for the past 15 years, we've been the only Black newspaper in the state of New Jersey. And if you haven't notified us, gotten in touch with us, then I don't think you're very interested in getting in touch with the Black community. So when the governor talks about he wants to be inclusive, I say, well, how come you didn't send out a press release or notify the only Black newspaper in the state of New Jersey about your diversity interests?
It doesn't make sense.
I don't pay no attention to them. I say, you know what? The proof is always in the pudding. I take a spoonful of that pudding and I don't see no Black money coming for Black people, leave me alone. Leave me alone. All right. So, how you doing, son?
I'm doing well, Pop.
All right. You know who we got, right?
Kadja Manuel, Taiwanda, Terry Wilson, and brother Alex Bethea.
All right, let's bring them on here. Let's talk to them. Greetings. How are you?
Hello.
Greetings.
Sir, good.
Alex.
Hey, how are you,
What's up,
Kamau?
brother? How you been?
Doing well. Doing well.
Good.
How you doing?
Well, I'm always good. Ty, my sister.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Okay, it's good to see
Hi.
you.
You too.
Okay.
Thanks for the invite.
And this is Kadja. Make sure I got that right, Kadja.
You got it right. Yes, sir.
You're a young brother. I never met you before.
I know.
These other ones, I didn't met them a whole bunch of times. I've been knowing them for 50 years, right, Alex?
That's right. That's right, brother.
It's good to meet you.
Likewise.
Okay. You're running for city council at large, right? This is the runoff.
That's right.
All right, let me start off like this. I was reading not too long ago that there are 6 of you running, and I was reading something that the mayor said about he's supporting the other 3 candidates. Okay, they have a slate, and he was saying in his statement, I believe, now if I'm wrong, y'all correct me, that these 3 that he was supporting would help him along with his agenda. But if the other three got in there, then they would be the same as the council was before. Is that basically what he said?
Well, if I may, first of all, it's unethical for the mayor to endorse candidates. And number two, not only did he endorse them, he extended his lease on his headquarters so that they have full use of that. Now, the council is check and balance for the mayor. It sounds like he's either trying to get a rubber stamp, or it could be viewed as quid pro quo. I give you something and you give me something. Not only is it unethical, I guess it's borderline illegality. So that's the way I see it. So I don't know how my teammates view that, but I see that as not good.
Right. Well,
I would just
like to follow up and say I wasn't aware of that comment, and it's very disturbing. And it's very disturbing because I actually pride myself on working well with any administration and any administrator that we have, because the goal is to always move the city forward. The only thing that I don't do is allow people to make me think the way they want me to think. So I'm a free thinker. So out of all the years that I have been active in the city of Trenton, I've never had an issue with the mayor. So I find it concerning and I find it dishonest to put such a label on us, because one thing that I know we present is professionalism, open-mindedness, forward thinking, and the ability to work well with anyone, as long as it has the city's best interest at heart. So I think I posted on yesterday on Facebook that I've never in my life regretted any vote that I've given during an election time. But this past election, I regret one vote. And that was one vote for our mayor, because the things that I am seeing are very unethical. And you could have never told me that. I like to look and watch, not listen to what people are saying, but look with my own eyes. And parading any set of candidates around, even had it been us three, it is unethical, because we are supposed to work together and we are supposed to be separate and apart. We're supposed to be checks and balances. So when I'm watching the mayor parade candidates around, it's not right. And that's any elected official. Even we look at the county clerk or the deputy clerk, and these people who are in charge of elections are running around with candidates. It's very disrespectful to the city of Trenton, and it's very disrespectful to the residents. I take issue with it.
Sorry,
That's
Ty.
true.
And to follow up on what
No,
Ty
you're
said,
fine.
it's easy to like people when you know they're not going to hold you accountable. So I think there's a direct correlation between the three candidates that the mayor endorsed and, the connection to the lawsuit that the three of us successfully won. Those three were silent. And that silence just shows you exactly what will happen. Having fundraisers with directors at their homes, with, the cabinet of the mayor, whom of which you're supposed to be the checks and balances to, it is unethical. If these directors don't know how to do budgets, you're partying with them, they're your friends. How are you going to hold them accountable? And we've seen it throughout this entire cycle. We've seen an uptake when we fought for the runoff, and we're successful in this effort together. But it's unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. I didn't know that it wasn't. I didn't know that it was something that might be illegal. But now that you're bringing this to my attention, that's pretty serious stuff.
It's a clear conflict of interest.
Right. But if, let's say that you got elected, okay, would you then, because of this, say, hey, look, I'm not supporting him. I'm going to be
I know for me, I tell folks, the mayor, in the Army, there's a saying: you don't have to like the man, but you got to respect the rank.
The Army.
And the mayor is the CEO of the town.
Okay.
And it's council's job not to create the vision, but our role is sort of like the operations, just to support his vision. Where our job's not to come up with the vision, we would support him, but our job is also to work with him constructively, with a fine-tooth comb, make sure that the taxpayers and residents' money, is getting allocated where it should go. We keep it professional. I like what my running mate Taiwanda said: professionalism over politics. We're willing to work with anyone. I think it's unfortunate to find out publicly that the mayor is not really willing to work with us. It's not really us saying that about him. It's vice versa. And if we're successful and we win, we still hold that charge. We're still willing to work with him, but we're still going to also hold him accountable.
Okay. How about you, Todd?
I think. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that it's an example of how people think, and what he said is what he said, and it says more about him than it says about us, because we've never once said anything negative about the mayor. We're just having our right, which is to run for city council and to make our city better.
Yeah, I agree with my two teammates. The mayor is the CEO and of the town, and he's the administrator. He's in charge of the administrative branch, the legislature, and everything that he does monetarily for the city, we must give advice and consent, and we will continue to do that professionally, no matter what he does or say. But like Ty said, it's disrespectful to the voters and for this town, for the mayor to say, I want this 3, I don't want that 3, and select me. Now, the council does not have to give the mayor leadway. Doesn't have to give him the professionalism that we would continue to provide no matter what. They can be a rubber stamp. They don't have to hold him accountable. They can rubber stamp it. And as I said, and I will not take this back, that is quid pro quo. You gave me something, I will give you something back.
Give and take.
Yeah, it's a give and take. That's what it is. That's what it is. Is that illegal? Yes. In this type of government, absolutely. This type of government in which we serve, that's illegal.
Yeah, I think during the last election, during the last council that was seated, there was a whole lot of adversarial interactions for whatever reason. And it seems like the mayor, who frowned upon that or considered himself to not be engaging in that, he's setting the example and he's setting the tone for our next election, because we don't know who's going to win. With the funny numbers that came out of our last election that didn't add up any type of way you put them, with all the improprieties, we don't know what really happened in our election, and hopefully we'll get an answer going forward. But I have to tell you, you can't say you want to be ethical. You can't say you want to move the city forward when, as a leader, you are showing impartiality. So I stand by. I wish I had never voted. I wish I would have voted differently. I wish I would have voted differently, because the residents get to decide who they want to serve them, not the mayor. It's a privilege for someone to select us. So when you go around, that's a different type of privilege. When you walk around and you tell people what you want, as if they didn't just give you the honor to serve them. And it's not like any of us have gotten elected based on a majority of the voters here in the city of Trenton. That was a very small margin of people that came out. to vote for the mayor, to vote for council at large, to vote for the ward seats. So Trentonians, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about other people. I prefer we talk about our platform. That's just me. But I'm saying to Trenton, look at the disrespect. Your vote is your power. You do not let people take you for granted. And if you've seen anything over me in 20 years, you will see me in pictures with everybody, a lot with the mayor, a lot with some other people, and now not so much. And the reason is when I see what you're doing and it's not for our community, I can't be a part of it.
Right.
Okay. Now, this election is the first election that I've ever had any concerns about. Any other election I've ever been to, I go into behind the booth, I push my little things, and I walk out, and I never had any concern about whether or not it was a fair and open election. This election, I don't know what the hell happened. I don't, I start in the West Ward. I know Italia. Italia's she's been a fiery leader out there for years. And for her to just get swamped like that is, it may have happened. I don't know, but I don't believe it. I look at the North Ward, and I'm seeing three brothers running, against this other woman, and a Republican woman. And then when it comes down to the runoff, all of a sudden three brothers had all these votes. And then all of a sudden she won. I don't, I'm just not happy. I'm not trustworthy. I don't feel good about the outcome of any of this. Do you have concerns about the process?
I do. I think I know we all do for sure, but I think we have to look at who's running our elections. The board of canvassers, the county board of elections. I won't get in trouble. But Algernon was just awarded a recount of his of the turnout of his North Ward race. But I think the New Jersey State Legislature, it's imperative that they restructure the Mercer County election authorities. The Mercer County Board of Elections, one, they have too much power. There's zero oversight. And legislation needs to be passed to make the Mercer County Board of Elections a diverse, non-partisan election board, rather a bipartisan board that creates too much politicalness around voting when it should be, I think all authorities in charge of voting should be nonpartisan. That's just my own belief, because in the party's influence, it becomes a little too much. People pick up that phone and start asking for favors. But I think the Mercer County Board of Elections needs to be restructured. Currently, there's no people of color, no people that live in Trenton, even on the board. So it's interesting. It's quite questionable. And I think they never expected Algernon to fight. They never expected us three to fight. And this is just another one of those tales from, years worth of disinvestment and a lack of accountability. They never expected three people of color who are working class, whose families been here, who are also working class, to take the state, the county, and the city to court, and yet alone do all three and win. And for it to happen again, for the election that happened a month later in the North Ward, it's unprecedented. This is unpopular, but our county clerk's an elected position. It's an elected position. But I think all folks need to, after this cycle's complete, after January 25th, things need to be revisited, and folks need to be at the very least let go, if not in prison.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. Well, okay. Let's get on. Let me ask you about you right now. Why should the citizens who come out to vote on the 24th, should they vote for you, Ty?
Sure. Citizens should vote for me because I care about the city of Trenton. I've been doing the work. I understand what our issues are, from quality of life issues across the board, no matter what ward of the city you live in. We're all dealing with quality of life issues, and those issues need to be understood. They need to be articulated. They need to be addressed, and they need to be rectified. That's number one. We cannot push stuff under the rug because it's not popular to talk about. Number two, you should vote for me because I will stand up for you and I will fight. I'm not going to fight in an adversarial way, but I'm going to fight with the power that's invested in me with the city council seat. I'm going to fight with policy. I'm going to fight with procedure, but I'm going to fight for the residents of the city of Trenton and what they are asking for. I'm not going to be a candidate that picks my own fights unless it's something that happens under my watch. Meaning, I am there to represent the residents in the city of Trenton. City council people are there to approve and review the budget and to create ordinances. If residents have a grievance and it's not being handled by the directors or the departments, we will fight in unison to make sure that you are being heard and you are being represented, because that is what we're there for. When you come to city council and you tell us what's happening, we can't overstep certain things, but our job is to make sure that the department director who's in charge of the issue, your issue, where it falls under, we're going to work in unison and make sure that you're not left out and you're not unheard. That's what you can expect from me. So you should vote for me if you want to see transparency. You should vote for me when you want to make sure that your rights are being recognized. We're paying taxes here. We're living here, whether we rent, whether we own. We want to make sure that we have a quality of life, and that includes clean streets, safe streets, being able to walk the street without being, shot and killed, making sure that I am accountable to you as your representative, making sure that our students are in safe buildings with whatever power that we have, trying to put a handle on this fighting, understanding that something is inherently wrong when kids are fighting. If a child is fighting every single day, that's a signal that something is happening. We don't need to keep locking people up. We need to talk to these children, find out what is wrong. Yes, there needs to be consequences, but look at what we're doing when you talked about the mayor walking around parading members who are of the public who are vying for the same office that we are. We need to lead by example. And I mean, I don't want to run on, but that is what you can expect from me, to do the job that you will elect me to do. Thank you for that question.
Okay. Now, I mean, everybody who runs is, we have your platform. But Alex, don't give me the platform speech. Tell me, what's your plan to Trenton has had a 40, 50-year history of ugliness. How are we going to break this? Alex, tell me. Uh-oh. All right. Kadja, you tell me. Alex, we'll get back to you.
Sean?
Okay, good. Okay.
All right, I got you now. Go ahead. No, maybe I don't. Kadja, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you ask the question again, sir?
Yeah, I mean, there's platform speech. That everybody wants to do a good job. I understand that, but we need stuff done in this city. We need this city to get on track. What are you going to do to get this city on track? Great question. Hopefully our answer to my answer will meet your expectations. I think what Trenton first needs to do, I want to give a shout out to Ty. She nailed it. Stronger, safer communities, getting control of the gun violence and repeat offenders, education fully funded, help support the Board of Education, but also hold them accountable, hold the superintendent accountable, get great people to run for office that will be managing the school board budget. And trauma responsive care. There's a direct connection between violence and the effects of PTSD in not just our young folks, but folks of all ages, and repeat offenders as well. So when Ty spoke about
trauma and how, you know, gun violence and stuff like that affects urban communities is very real. And it's also part of the governor's state action plan and his plan with ACEs. ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. Dr. Adela Ames, she had a great plan. She's a really great expert in terms of ACEs. She actually published a book on that, which is why I'm saddened to see that the mayor let her go, one of our own. She's an expert in adverse childhood experiences, and she also was seeking additional funding for the city to address childhood trauma early on so that we can prevent acts of violence. While we can't prevent everything, we can address the root causes and throw money behind it and create programs and real systems of support for our folks. I think Trenton needs, you know, the voices of all people heard. Alex and I are the only two African-American males in the race. This will be the first time probably in Trenton's history where that voice will not be heard if neither one of us get in, especially in recent history. So, you know, we're predominantly community of color, but it's not reflecting that currently with the current electorate that's elected now. And if, you know, our slate doesn't get on and the other one does, our voices will completely be ignored. But I think Trenton, we can get from where we are by, you know, electing people who we know live here, people who we know pay taxes here, people who are part of the community. I tell people all the time, combined together, Alex, Taiwanda, and myself, we have a combined 80 years of diversified professional experience, all served honorably. I got military and corporate HR. Ty's got her advocacy and, you know, doing it over 20 years. I did HR for 10 years. Mr. Bethea has been a principal, an educator, a 2-term at-large council person. All of his advocacy wrapped up for what, going on 50 years. Combined, that's over 80 years of professional experience. The learning curve won't be that large. You know, you got 2 newbies and Mr. Bethea gets to serve one more time, hopefully, if we're all elected. And I really do believe that will move Trenton in the right direction. I think throughout this process, we've shown, yeah, we'll stand up, you know, to the powers that be, but we'll also work with them. We've maintained respect. We've been called losers so many times throughout this lawsuit. We, you know, we the book and we still show up and support not just each other, because we were 3 separate races who were joined together on principle. We didn't have some big super PAC throwing 50 grand our way. We picked up the phone and said, hey, this is the right thing to do. If we get in and do it, let's just do it. And we all, you know, part ways and do our own thing. You know, we just, principles what brought us together. We all, 3 of us had platforms that were similar, unique, but similar along the same values. And that's why we ultimately partnered up, you know. I think that's what Trenton really needs. And and on some of our literature, if you were received it or, you know, got some, it says 3 generations of leadership, and that's what Trenton needs. We got Alex with the wisdom, Ty with the now, and me with the future. I don't see how, you know, some leaders can say we're going to take Trenton far and we're going to new if it's the same parochial circles of people behind the same type of candidates. Trenton ain't going nowhere if that's the case. You got the same 3 power brokers, you know, and every 4 years it's the same 3 folks that pick their favorites who probably won't read and can't write to rubber stamp ordinances and resolutions. But if that happens this go round, I'm afraid that we're going to see a lot of home ownership decline and redevelopment go around, you know, working class people. I think they'll build around us and keep us in one concentrated area.
Right.
Okay.
You know, gentrification might increase.
Alex, where you at?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Hey,
here I am. I'm
brother.
ready.
All right,
I'm ready.
Now, I'm hearing a lot of what are you gonna do, man? Now you've been in the trenches for a long time, and Trenton has stayed the same. What are you gonna do?
Yes,
what are you gonna do new?
Let me go back to the question that you asked before, and I think it was a good question, and you made some excellent points about, you know, we can talk a good game. I can tell you my platform and I can make it sound good, but let me go the other way this time that you alluded to. I can say to you uncandidly that for the last 40 years, I have paid the taxes on my property in Trenton. That's 40 years, almost at an average of $10,000 a year. You do the math. Now, at the same time, when it was popular for administrators that were making six figures to take their kids and head out of town to the suburbs, Alex Bethea stayed. Not only did I stay, I sent my kids to the public schools, and I wanted them to be the best at what they did educationally and physically as we participated in the sports of wrestling. That was by design by yours truly, Alex Bethea. And I understood the game, and we brought Trenton City High School, the first and only state champion. Alex Bethea did that by design. It wouldn't matter where they went to school, whether it was Princeton or Hamilton, I was going to get a state champ. I chose Trenton. My wife is a graduate of Trenton High School, and she went on to Ivy Leagues. My son graduated 5 out of 7 Ivy League graduates, African-American males in the urban, unheard of. At the same time, I'm president of NAACP, Trenton Brand, PTA president, Trenton High School, and I'm serving on various committees and meetings over 40 years. I can tell you about a platform. I can also tell you what I've done. We created the Bethea family, Trenton Youth Wrestling, that is alive and well as we speak, to try to beat the street for young boys and girls. I can go on and on and on about what I have already done. I worked 40 years in the Trenton public school education system. I did that. I did it. And I gave everything that I have to give them. And I wasn't no slouch. I think that I'm one of the best teachers that ever put foot in the classroom in Trenton. And I have evidence to prove it. Even when my students, some of them, I have a good relationship with them today that I taught 40 years ago. Ask them if you don't believe me. Again, on my wife's side, 3 generations of my family attended Trenton High School. They were all born in Mercer Hospital that was on Brunswick Avenue. They shut it down. Now we don't even have a hospital for a baby to be born in Trenton. What a tragedy.
Right.
What a shame.
Right.
And it hurts my heart. That's why I'm running.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I can go on.
I know you could.
Yes, sir.
Right,
Yes,
look,
sir.
You know, a lot of things came up there. But I want to get into what is very important. Of course, it's important to, I know it's important to you, Alex, but education. You know, Trenton school districts, Trenton schools in the Trenton school district have for 40 years failed our kids. Okay. Now I listen to council people or political people who say, well, we really don't have anything, city council really doesn't have anything to do with we can't do anything about the school board, and I'm looking at that and I'm saying that's bullshit. You know what I mean? You expect the public individuals to do something about the school board. We expect more from council people to do something about this school board and to get these. What are y'all going to do about these schools? How long are we going to allow these schools to fail? I mean, we talk about 85% of our children do not pass the New Jersey test. 85%. And this has been going on for 40 years.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Huh? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. You're right. Right. You're right, Kamau. It's been for 40 years, and you're right that education has in my heart. Education is in my public school. Education is in my heart. Now, couple things. Number one, I ran for mayor because the mayor appoints the Board of Education. He's the CEO. He appoints the Board of Education, and if he knows about education, he can hold the Board of Education accountable. Not only that, when Doug was here, he used to say, I hired the superintendent. That's power. Okay? Now, within the system, two things. Within the system, working for the system, I put my kids in the system to try to make it better. Now, I have 5 Ivy League graduates. No one has called and said, wait a minute, we got a man across town seem to have a hand on this thing. Why don't we at least come to the table? Not a word. Not that. It puts me away. So look, let's give you some baby around.
I'm interested in what you're going to do now. Kadja, what you going to do?
Okay. Let me say one.
Alex, you breaking up real bad, bro.
Okay, let Kadja go. Now come back. Kadja, go ahead. And I'll come back.
Thank you. Education was one of my pillars of my campaign prior to the runoff. We believe that, by laying a solid foundation for Trenton's young people through meaningful opportunities and diversion, we can make our young people feel valued, better supported, and just ready for success. Ready for that opportunity to knock on their door and just land in their lap.
How are you going to do that?
Provide quality mentorship to our young people. I've been a mentor and I've been a beneficiary of mentorship, and I know what it's like to benefit from mentorship. Young people are less likely to be involved in violence, gangs. Young people who have mentors, they improve better in school. They go to better colleges. I also believe that in terms of education, our school board needs to not just have coffee with a cop, but we need to create sort of like a JROTC type program. On my website, we called it a cadet program. There's a lot of young folks who are about to graduate who have an interest in fire and public safety, such as cops and firefighters, but the position's already taken, and an influx of those positions are taken by folks who don't live here. So if we had a pipeline for folks who wanted to serve in their communities as cops and firefighters, started when they became seniors, created a cadet type program where they can be an apprentice or shadow or some sort of official partnership with the school, that's a segue right into public safety, and it almost attacks another issue such as community policing. So I think, but right now, what I can do tangibly and what I know all three of us have done is, now that the school board can be elected, seek out folks who I know have great leadership abilities, they can manage a budget, and ask them to run for school board, not just for themselves, but for the city and for the children of Trenton. I got a friend who I know is running. I got one more friend who's director of HR for an organization. But I think folks who do decide to run for school board needs everybody. We need people who are good at law, good at compliance, good with money, good with, networking, not just
look.
educators.
We got good people on the school board now. We've had good people for years on the school board, but nothing has changed.
Kamau,
Okay.
Let me give you. I can give you the solution to it. I'm an expert in urban education. You can put that down. Now, in order to change the school system that you talked about, you've been failing for 40 years. I agree because I was a part of it. But here is the solution. It has to be authentic, it has to be serious, and it has to be
No, you're breaking up there, brother. I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Okay.
Tell me about something.
Can you hear me?
Ty, tell me about this.
Yeah, right. So I agree that there's very limited things, whether that's the popular answer or not, it's the right answer that the city council can do outside of the school board estimates money that we allocate. That's one thing. But in my opinion, if you're looking at my wall here, we have raised children in excellence. We have not dropped our kids off in kindergarten and then come back in 12th grade. We have been active. Some of the things that I have seen inside Trenton Public Schools is I don't think we need a lot of money to fix the problem. Why do I say that? Because myself, Corrine Grooms, Miss Janice Caldwell, Miss Kareem McBride, Emerson Simmons, we fought for years to get money and funding for books. They wouldn't give us the money. We had to fight for it. And then when we got the books, they put the books inside of a warehouse, never saw the light of day for students. When they were going to lay off our teachers and our security guards, they were saying there wasn't enough money in the budget. They ended up laying off teachers, gym teachers, music teachers, art teachers, and then they ended up giving staff members money for their sick leave and their vacation leave while they were still employed. So there's nothing inherently wrong with our children. We have to have people in those classrooms that see our children as human beings, who believe that our children have value, who believe that our children are as brilliant as they are. If you don't see that, this is what you'll get. What I have seen with Mr. Bethea, this is just one example. My baby girl, Brittany, was one of his students. And every day when she went to lunch, she would call me crying. And I'm like, Brittany, why are you calling me? Because Mr. Bethea, our vice principal, is telling me during my lunch hour, I need to read a book. Now, I had to tell Mr. Bethea, I had to tell her, Brittany, I understand what he's saying, but your lunch period is your lunch period to do as you please. So I had to tell Mr. Bethea, I like where you're going with it, but that's her time. But I understood it. That's the care. That's the compassion. I've witnessed students being disrespected by teachers, being talked to like they were somebody out of the street. And whenever it was in my presence, and especially when it was with my children, I would tell those teachers, come talk to me like you're talking to my child. Because we don't talk to our children like that. And it would stop. And then when I saw a student at Hedgepeth Williams Middle School getting dragged out of the building by a cop, I just happened to be coming up there because I was always up in the schools. The cop saw me and took the student back inside the building. Well, if you were doing something ethical, why'd you stop? They happened to have the police director call my phone, and we were really cool, and asked if I had video. I said, I sure do, and it's on my phone, and you won't be getting it. And he laughed. That was Bradley. So it's nothing inherently wrong with us as a community. We have to remember how America was founded. And again, this might not be popular, but we were founded on racism. We were founded on divisiveness. Before our ancestors were brought here, they didn't bring slaves here. They brought enslaved people who were physicists, botanists, astrologists. So we got to know our history. But when you get us into a place where you don't value us and you show us all the time by who's getting arrested, by who's getting suspended, who's fighting every day, that's a lack of caring. So if you don't have people in place to nurture our students, and you put people in place that look like us, I could go deep. The old assistant superintendent job.
I'm going to let you go deep. All right, but that's basically what I'm asking you. I mean, the state of New Jersey is responsible for making sure our children are given, that they receive a thorough and efficient education. The state of New Jersey, the New Jersey Board of Education has not made sure that our children have gotten an efficient education all these years. Are you willing to go to the state of New Jersey and smack somebody upside their head?
I've done it, and I will continue to do it.
I know about our kids, but they have allowed this school district to be horrible, and they purposely allowed it to be horrible. Are you willing to say that has to stop?
Yes. Kamau, you're on point, and you're onto something. First, I'd like to acknowledge something that Ty said, and I almost forgot about it. Is even when I was administering in the school system, in the cafeteria during lunch, I made it a priority for the kids to bring a book. But it goes a little bit deeper than that. And I'd like to share with you my plan. And I may not be able to implement it, but we have to start very early. To your point about the Board of Education, State Board of Education, that's good on paper, man. And those people are recycled. They do their time, 20, 30 years, they earn those big salaries, and they're gone. We see that in Trenton. They come in and they earn nice money, and they're gone. They don't come back to say how's it going. They don't. Now, but the people who are here, like yourself and myself, it is our responsibility. And I said to you before, and I stand by this, I'm an expert in urban education, and I have evidence to prove that I know what I'm talking about. We must start at the early level, kindergarten, first grade. And we can do this. And we can have the money that is wasted, we can have X come and do the assessment, because each child is different. Have dominant learning style that varies.
Alex, you're breaking up again, man. Alex, you're breaking up bad.
Yes, sir.
I hate I hate to stop.
That's
you. I really do. But
okay, go to the next.
Let's go on.
Kamau, do we answer your question? Because to me, the answer is parents have to be engaged. You cannot drop your kid off in kindergarten and come back in 12th grade. And then teachers, we have some great teachers. We really do have some great teachers and some great administrators. We have to start weeding out the teachers who do not see value in our children. And if they're talking to them disrespectfully, if they're suspending them at high rates, if a child is moving around.
How do we do that? How are you
The answer is city council does not have any control over that. That is a state function. The Department of Education falls under the state. So aside from us allocating that funding, the only thing we could do is be human beings that care like we are. And when we see something, we can say something. And we can't put our head under the table and walk away. When we see an infraction, we must report it. When our children are telling us something is happening to them, we must be there to our children. When our staff members,
like you said, you and Emerson and Corrine, y'all did that. And we still got the system that we got.
But our kids were successful.
I can say personally that I know a lot of parents. I know a lot of community people. I know a lot of administrators and teachers who have done that. But we still got the system that we got.
Because people don't value our children. Come on, what do we do? Well, I don't have another answer.
Let me say this in very quickly. I will put it in writing before the end of this year, a manuscript on what it should look like and what needs to be done, what must be done.
That's a good idea.
That will be written a manuscript by Alex Bethea before the end of 2023. That's my plan. I've been intending to write it down for 20 years, haven't gotten around to it. But I have the solution to the problem. But it has to be a commitment by all I said the parents.
Alex, I'm gonna tell you
Everybody.
something. I'm gonna tell you something straight up. If you got the solution to
Come
the
on.
problem and you've been hanging on to it for 20 years, I'm gonna come over here and talk to you.
No,
That's the problem, brother. Come on.
okay,
You
okay,
gotta
hold on. That's a good point.
To be messed
No.
up for 20 years,
Here-
and you got the solution.
No,
No,
well,
I want to go somewhere else now. I want to go somewhere else.
okay,
I wanna go-
okay.
I wanna
That's
talk
a hot
about-
topic, Kamau, because we care. I'm telling you. Go ahead.
I know it's hot. I care too.
I have to.
And it just doesn't make any sense to me that no, I'm leaving that topic. I'm leaving it because we
I have the evidence in my house.
You still breaking up there, brother. I'm sorry. Kadja. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, because I can mess up a name. The police. Every child can tell you the hot spots where the hot spots is in the city. Every child, every 10-year-old can tell you. How come the police ain't there? What are we gonna do about getting the police there?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Man. So I'll defer back to one of my answers on early on. I think the mayor appointing a great, not a good, a great police director who not only has ties to the community, but someone who's trusted. And you can have ties in the community and still be like on guard when people see you, they ducking and running. But
Yeah,
I think that's the first step: hiring a great police director who's ethical, who's honorable.
Okay. All right. Well,
that was my mom. She's about to get out my house. Hiring a police director who's ethical and who has a strategy. I think it's the mayor's job to hire somebody with that vision, but council's job comes with supporting that vision if they can show the support by way of a budget. Come up with a strategy, create line items. We need this. This is how much this costs. Why? This is why we need it. We need this. This is how much this costs. This is why we need it. And, that's not to say, oh, the director says we need an armored tank and the council approves it. No, we need a great director to come before council with a budget, an actual budget with line items. Over the past 4 years, some of those directors were ate up. They would have been doing push-ups if they was hanging out with me a few years ago. They make great money, 6 figures. Come with a plan so council can write that check, clear the check to support your plan and your vision. Also, while that's not our job, all of us live here. We're elected. We have to live here to be elected here. Nothing's stopping us from having a conversation and a great idea. Hey, we know these areas over here in the West are hot. Let's request a meeting with the director. Perhaps you can rearrange your strategy, but I don't think we've been successful because a lot of the folks that we've hired came from Essex County. You can't come to an area in which you do not live and which you do not have the knowledge of the history and with the different sects.
No investment.
Right. And try to solve a problem. Some directors were getting calls. They couldn't even make it down here in time. Like, it didn't make sense. But I think that's the first step. And then that's how council can support it, holding them accountable and also finding the flaws and the great points in their strategy and helping approve monies to get it done. Like cameras on the street. We had a lot of cameras that were sitting in the warehouse, hundreds of them. We paid for them. They just weren't getting used. Gross misuse of funds,
Okay.
I would like to add one point to his point, and that is when that administration, this administration was looking for a police director, I was a part of a focus group or the West Ward a committee that had selected a young man that grew up in Downey Home, Trenton Central High School graduate. I wrote the mayor a letter on behalf of the group recommending that he give this young man an interview. Saw the young man later. The mayor never even called him in for an interview. This is a person who could walk down the street and people can recognize him. He had experience in law enforcement. Never even considered the brother.
Are you talking about this? You talking about this mayor that we have right now?
Yeah, this mayor that we have right now. When he was going and searching of police directors way back the first couple years of his term, I wrote the letter on behalf of the group that we came up that thought that this individual would be a good fit for this city.
Was this group that you were with, was this appointed by the mayor or suggested?
No. Just the West Ward.
Okay,
West Ward group. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How about you, T?
Wow. Can you repeat the question so I can answer it?
I don't know. We're talking about making policing better in this city. You know, what as a council person, what are you going to do to make policing better? You know, that's the
I am going to encourage the mayor, if he would listen, since I'm not one of his chosen, right? I'm going to encourage the mayor that when he's looking for a police director, he lets the police director understand the vision of Trentonians. And the vision of Trentonians is for us to be protected and for us to be served, not for us to be under attack and not for us to be submissive. We want to be policed like other communities want to be policed. I think that we have gotten better in the way we've done policing. We still have a long way to go, but I honestly have to say I have seen some strides. But the people have to either.
What have you seen?
From what I've seen from my eyes, you know, I'm hard. I have seen less police officers being as adversarial to people, because it used to be you couldn't even walk down the street with your eyes up and your head up without somebody stopping you, harassing you, throwing you against the car. I think that has gone down. I didn't say it stopped. I said I think it has gone down. And for that, I'm happy, because when we have school shootings in other communities, you never see their police officers stopping every single resident and violating their rights because they have a crime or they had a possibility of a crime. It just doesn't happen. So we know that police know how to do their job. We do know also that they just did it differently inside our community. So I want to see the mayor continue to set the expectations and set the requirements and let them know anything less than protecting and serving our residents is not going to be tolerated.
Okay, that's good. All right, now we got to get out of here pretty soon. So just let me give you a general question, something for your hearts to consider. You love this city. You love the people in this city. Mm-hmm. What do you want? What's the feeling you want out of this job?
I'll go. No, who wants to go first? Nobody.
Okay. Go ahead, Kadja.
Yeah, I go. I go first.
The feeling I want is the first word that comes to my mind is growth. I see Trenton as a city that can attract developers, that can attract new homeowners, that can make opportunities for people who live here to own homes. And I see Trenton as a place that can build up. Every major capital city, every capital city in the country has begun to build up. And by build up, I mean, you know, we have that tax building right there that's up for sale. A developer can come in, not just buy that building and keep it the way it is, but they can turn that building into a skyscraper, build up. And once Trenton becomes stable enough to where we have a 24-hour downtown, which is on our 250 plan, where, you know, the downtown actually is for the people who live here. So when we get off work, we can enjoy it too. I think Trenton can turn around in a few years. I'm optimistic. I bought my home here. You know, I was intentional about that. I decided to contribute that way before making the decision to run. I really have hope for Trenton, and I'm optimistic. I see a lot of other people my generation, Ty's generation, she's one generation right above me, running for office, and not just running for office, volunteering with nonprofits, signing people up for census, because we know that the census is connected to how much money we get for, our schools and stuff. And I have hope. I have hope. That's why I'm running. I have hope, and I'm willing to do the work until everyone else in my generation has hope too.
Very good. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it quick. I won't be long. Obviously, public safety, but not public safety, but but my heart of hearts, I'd like to see us renovate some of these boarded up properties and get people affordable opportunities, low incomers, into those boarded up homes, as many as possible. We could take one at a time. We had a program once upon a time that would help a person with a low income, with a family, fix up those houses, run the pipe, the drywall, electricity, and they could live in those houses and put them back on the tax roll. That's what I would love to see. If we could accelerate that process, I would be so happy. That's my heart of hearts.
All right. How about you, Ty?
Sure. What I would like to see is, I would like to see Trentonians, everyday Trentonians, all of us that live here, have an opportunity to be a part of Trenton's growth. So when I'm looking on Facebook and I'm looking at the marketplace, I'm seeing people of all different races say that they're looking for housing anywhere in Trenton or near Trenton that costs under $2,000 a month. The fact that we can't find the housing tells us exactly what's happening. So I want to see Trenton really be inclusive of the residents here and recognize that people love the city. They want to live here, but they do not want to be priced out of it. I see Trenton as I see Lambertville. I love it. We're right here on the water. Let's bring our little quaint shops and eateries. God, I get excited and this cough is getting to me. But I see Trenton with the ability, and all the people here, all of our different racial backgrounds, all of our different skill sets, all of our different things that we're knowledgeable in. We can rebuild Trenton, and I want to see it being rebuilt with those of us that live here and give the opportunity for others to come. But I don't want us to be priced out, left out, or invested around. We can't accept that.
Okay. I need to end, but I got to ask one more question of y'all. Economics. Trenton's medium income is maybe half of what the rest of Mercer County is. How can city council and you city council people address that so that we can start getting an economic base?
Kamau,
Can I start with that answer?
Go ahead,
okay,
Ty.
go ahead. Yes.
Adela Ames Lopez. Adela Ames Lopez is an example. She wasn't born here, but she lived here. She went to Trenton Central High School. She graduated. All the things you're talking about in education, she did. Yes, mayors have a right to let people go, but if they're doing the job that you're expecting them to do, you also have the discretion to keep them here. My daughter went through 4 years at a Trenton Police Explorers program because she wanted to be a police officer. She wanted to be a narcotics officer. She worked in Trenton Dispatch. It was so much racism and discrimination and bias, and I raised my children right. She was made to resign, and she didn't want to resign, but they actually wrote a letter making her resign. So we can tell our children to do everything right, but unless we have people in place that are going to support our residents, we're never going to see the growth. And the last thing is Helling Full Hospital. I just went there a few weeks ago to visit my son-in-law. I was discriminated against. I went live. I sent the mayor a letter and told everybody about it, and they just doubled down. So again, in order for Trenton to move forward, we have to have people in administration who see us as human beings, who cater to us because we elect them. And when they don't, we get them out. And we don't put people in who are going to be silent and just want the position, because these are the real issues that keep us down here. So that's my answer.
Okay. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah. Kamau, you know that the school system is the lifeblood of the community. And there is a correlation between education and income. There is a correlation. And when we allow our kids to drop out of high school and so forth and so on, so we end up with that problem. Now, to fix it or to try to put a quick fix, when your school system is fixed, people move in, put their kids into the system, and then the income, the household average income per household will increase, except a few people who are committed and dedicated and want to see it change, and they stick around for the long haul. We have to fix that education system, and it's going to take some time. This is not an overnight fix. Don't let nobody fool you that income thing is going to shoot up. But we do have to make sure that the unemployment rate in Trenton is eradicated or eliminated. People can get jobs, and we have to fight to make sure that Trenton residents get some of these high-paying jobs instead of farming it out to other communities. And we got to get our people back to work. No matter what that is, we got to give them a decent income, and we got to get them back to work, because we shouldn't have 20 and 30% unemployment in Trenton when other communities only have 5 and 10. That's my take on that.
Kadja.
They hit the nail on the head. That's a hard act to follow, but they both pretty much, we all share the same sentiments. Giving people a livable wage so that they can keep that money going in the community 4, 5, 10 times. Allowing honorable and ethical developers to come in, not to push people out, but to help build up and also, create other opportunities for current residents to build homes. Those are just 2 steps that I think will help transform Trenton economically. The city the thing is this: a budget is a moral document. We can create a pot of money. If we have a forensic audit, look at where we spent a little too much money frivolously, we can take some of that money, combine it, create a pot for a program where residents can go, those that are interested in, home ownership. The state has a program, but that's not stopping the city to further incentivizing its own residents, giving them that extra little bit of help they need to buy a home. On my site, I say innovation is what's going to make Trenton go forward.
Innovation. That's a good word.
And it's true. We can't keep doing the same old steps or the same old things, hoping that we'll get a different result, because it's not going to work. So we have to think about innovative ways to put the taxpayers' dollars back in their hands, because when you in their hands by way of programs for housing, by way of jobs, by way of, mentorship or job training, if you can't give them a job, give them training or skills that can land them a job elsewhere. There's ways we can put money back in the community that will help that money come back. It's an investment. You will see the return on investment 10 times, I promise you.
I have one last question. I just want a short answer from you all. All right. Around the country, the fight for reparations is ongoing. Are any of you willing, as council members, to propose a recommendation to put forth and support reparations for Black people in the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know I don't know what the process would be, but whatever it is, I'm willing to do some research and try to make it happen. I don't know if we could do it just for Trenton, but certainly we are a direct link or result of our foreparents being enslaved and with discrimination through the years to this point. I was born and grew up under Jim Crow laws, and I'm still affected by it. I want the world to know that I'm still having problems with that. For 15 years, I had to go to the back door. I had to go to a separate school, ride a separate school bus, live in a dilapidated house. That affected me. Thank God, and through the grace of God, I was able to overcome most of it, not all of it. Thank you, sir.
Very good.
My short answer is yes as well. And I'm very well of history, so I know that Irish Americans, Italian Americans, Hispanic Americans, Puerto Rico, there have been a lot of people who have been discriminated against. But it comes down to the color of our skin. Black people have been discriminated against, and it continues. We have not been able to get the burden of being Black off of our backs, and our children suffer. Generational wealth has been stolen. When you go to buy a house, you can't get a loan. And other immigrants that come here currently, we even see in the city of Trenton right now, people have no problem with getting access to the things that we still can't get access to. And the Civil Rights Bill allowed that. So yes, specifically for Black people, because we continue, although other people have been discriminated against, we continue to have a negative impact.
Okay, my brothers and my sister, I thank you very, very much. I'm sorry to keep you over time, but I could go on. You know, that there's all kinds of other questions like mental health, and you know, there's just so much that we could get into, and we should get into. So hopefully that you will come back, whether you get to be a council person or not. You will come back and share ideas and give solutions to some of the problems that has plagued Trenton for so long. Trenton, not you say Trenton, I'm not talking about Trenton. I'm talking about the people of Trenton. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. So thank you very much for being with us. And I hope to high hell y'all get in. Not that I have anything against the other three candidates. I mean, I love them too. But you know, when you start doing stuff that ain't right, or you don't support things that you know is wrong, I got a problem. So I hope you all get in there. So love you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your hearts with the people who will hear this broadcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Righty. Okay.
Everybody have a good night.
All righty. Thank you. Well, what a show that was. Michael, what do you think about that?
I thought it was an excellent show.
Yes,
all three of them seem to have visions. Miss Bethea, he done been there and done that already.
Yes,
he
has. Yes,
and
he
Kadja
has.
And Kadja is coming on up. Done it well.
That's right.
Kadja is bringing up the rear. I was wondering though, the question I wanted to ask them is, and it's probably a little off topic, but is City Council a stepping stone, or are you here for Trenton, or is it a stepping stone to leave Trenton?
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sure Alex ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. It don't seem, you know, all of them have bought into Trenton. You know, they all have homes here. I think all of them pretty much here for Trenton. You know, they like us. You know, we here in Trenton. You know what I mean?
Yes,
we got roots, and we want to keep roots. Okay. What else? Something I wanted to say. Next week, who we got next week? That's one thing I want to say. Who we got? Who we got, Sean?
What's the date next week?
Next week is the 20th.
20th.
Yep.
I believe right now we're still up in the air for the 20th. We have 2 people on, but on the 26th we're having Baye Kemet.
Baye, oh, that's a brother. You got Baye coming?
Yes.
That's good. I know later on. Okay, it's tentative for the 20th. I know later on in February we got Brother Dow Brooks coming on. You know, Dow, that's my buddy. You know, I like
Republican.
Yeah, he's a Republican. He's a staunch conservative Republican. So that should be different. You know?
Yes, very different. Trump
Thank
do.
you, everyone. I really appreciate your being here. Your comments are very well taken. We love hearing from you, and we got to do better for our people here in Trenton. I'm talking about Trentonians. We got to do better. And I don't know what the mayor is doing. I'm not happy. Let me just give you one example of what I'm not happy with. My brother Kadja was talking about innovation, growth. It's like the garbage men. They taught them, they given them the equipment, they taught them how to use it. But now when they pick up the garbage, they throw the garbage in the truck. Then they turn the garbage can upside down and put it on the ground. And anything that's left in there going on the ground, and the homeowner has to come out and pick that and wet stuff up. I'm talking about a little bit of growth, a little bit of innovation. Now we got them where they are. Teach them now. Don't turn the garbage cans upside down. So that I don't care if it's just a 1% growth. That's fine. Because 1% per year, in 4 years, you got 4%. In 10 years, you got a 10% growth. So City Hall should be improving all the time. And I don't see any growth or innovation down at City Hall. And in the school district and in the police, I don't see any improvement. I see the day in, day out running of these entities, but I don't see the improvement. This is 2023. We should have our technology should be giving us all types of improvement. So we hope that happens. Yes, son.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, we got to get out of here, right?
Yes.
Love you.
January 24th, City Council-At-Large election. Get out and vote.
Yes. Vote for Alex Bethea, Kadja Manuel, and Ty Wilson, because they're good people. They got. I've been knowing them for not Kadja. I just met him, but Ty and Alex, especially Alex, I've been knowing for good people. I'm not saying that the others ain't good people. I know they are too, but they do. You can't let the mayor make you do things that ain't right.
We don't need a rubber stamp.
No, we don't need no.
We don't. No rubber stamp.
We need rubber stamps if everything is good and everything is glorious. Then you can rubber stamp that. But when you've been down for 40, 50 years, you don't need a rubber stamp to keep us down. And you know what I was looking for? I was looking for somebody to say that when I get in there, I'm going to the state offices and I'm going to stand on somebody's desk and demand that you do better by the people of Trenton, the capital city of Trenton.
Exactly.
Make it look like a little hip, ugly town. And beat them up. It's time to stop that mess. Good night, Michael. I'm gonna get out of here right now because I get on my high horse and I'll be going.
Oh, you know how it is.
You take care. Love you all out there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. We'll be back next Thursday at 8:00. Thank you very much.
All right, Trenton.
Good night.
Peace.